I feel like eating noises can go either way from me.
Yeah, that's true. Because on the one hand, I could be listening and be like, oh, man, I'm there. I'm eating with you guys. But on the other hand, I'll be like, man, would you guys shut up and stop chewing? Okay, so I'm Robby.
I'm Andrew.
This is Campfire Chronicles, episode number 12.
Yes, indeed.
Cheers.
We've got our stouts. Oh. Got our stouts.
Stout?
You know.
So I live in Indiana. Andrew's at my house right now. We started a little fire in the backyard. And in Indiana, you cannot buy alcohol on Sundays.
It's a draconian law.
Yeah, I think it's ridiculous.
The reasoning is that it's helping smaller local business, which I wholeheartedly support that reasoning. There's better ways to do it.
I feel like, although in fairness to that law,
we found an awesome place.
we found an awesome local brewery we'd have never gone to otherwise.
It had like outdoor themed. It had a Calvin and Hobbes mural thing.
I'm gonna have to do a complete 180 on everything we've said because I just realized that it did help us support local business.
Well, I will say that, you know, a stout like a cider or a light ale or whatever beer. I don't know what an ale is. It quenches your thirst.
This is more of an ale, isn't it?
Maybe. I don't know. But it quenches your thirst, whereas this is like liquid food.
Yeah, this is straight up liquid food.
It's like they took a cake, soaked it in coffee and beer, and blended it.
It is pretty good. Okay, so we just got back from another Evansville odyssey where we went down to Evansville, Indiana.
That town is so bizarre. Actually, before we start, I want to say, if you're a patron on November 1st, the public release of the episode, you get access to behind the scenes and commentary. So just, be aware of that.
Yeah. And it's pretty funny. Like you actually cut together all the bloopers and put them all together, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm in the process of
In the process.
I did want to.
But yeah, the bloopers are pretty funny. And you can get a closer look at the whole show and
our thoughts about the episode and some of the behind the scenes.
Our fire looks like it's dying. Should we pause real quick and build that up?
Why don't you talk about Evansville? I'll build it up.
Okay, so we just went to Evansville and we filmed a wedding. So my other cousin, she runs a wedding photography business, and she was talking to the person who was doing the wedding. Is that what you say, doing the wedding? Having a wedding?
Having a wedding?
Yeah, okay. She was talking to the person having the wedding.
Being wed.
Yes. And they also wanted video, so they contacted us. And so it was really fun because not only was it me and Andrew working together, but it was me and my other two cousins, because my cousin Danny, he works with Jolie, the wedding photographer. So we were all working together, and it was really fun. That was great.
It's you've mentioned that Evansville is like a bizarre place where how'd you describe it? Like
I call it the nexus of the universe.
Yeah. So like this wedding,
all roads lead to Evansville for some reason.
I had zero conception or idea that this wedding was happening. The only reason I knew about it was because of your cousins who got the gig doing the photos.
Yeah.
I get there, I'm on the party bus filming some stuff. I get off and this guy comes up to me. He's like, Andrew? And I'm like, yeah.
Oh wait, so you didn't even know who he was until after the party bus?
Yeah, because he was like, do you know who I am? And I'm like, and like he looks so familiar.
Yeah.
I thought he was some kid from my high school, which I mean in a sense he was, but I thought he was like in my grade.
Yeah. And
then I realized he's Steven's brother. My friend Steven, this like redhead kid that I went to high school with, really good friends with. Interestingly enough, me, Robby, and him all went camping one time.
Yeah, we have footage of that actually.
That was at Houston Woods in Ohio.
I'll overlay some of that footage right now.
But it's just completely random. And the groom turned out to be the brother of someone who was actually in my graduating class in high school.
Wow.
It's like Evansville of all places.
Yeah, no, it's really weird. Evansville is a strange place. I think they live in Chicago now.
Yeah.
The actual bride and groom. But they were just in Evansville because I think the bride was from Evansville. But it was a great trip. Like I love hanging out with. So we hung out with my cousin Danny and then his friends.
Yeah, that was great.
My friends too, technically. Yeah. But we had these burgers today. This place called GD Ritzy's. What'd you think of that? I thought they were amazing.
Oh, it was good. Yeah.
The chili was just chili.
Burger. Have you ever had a bad burger?
I mean, what's funny is when I lived in New York, I used to go to a different place for lunch every day. And then for some reason, I kept going to this place after work. That was this terrible burger joint, but the burgers were $5 for like a complete burger, fries, and drink. So I thought that was so cheap. But that was a bad burger.
Wow.
It was basically like a school burger.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I guess school burgers are... But even those
I still
are pretty
enjoy them.
tasty.
Yeah, it's like pizza, you know? It's like...
Yeah. Speaking of which, I have these little flaxseed cookie cracker things.
Did Sarah McLachlan give them to you?
No. But they're zesty pizza flavored.
Oh, sweet. No, you know, it's funny. When I was on the toilet earlier today, I was reading about how, like, In-N-Out Burger is supposedly overrated. Mm-hmm. Although the people who posted the article said that was a lie. But the person who wrote the article said Shake Shack was better. And we had Shake Shack, and I was not that impressed.
Oh, did you have Shake Shack with me when you were...
Yeah.
Oh.
I mean, it was good, but it wasn't, like, life-changing or anything, the way they talk about it.
Shake Shack is the most overrated burger place I've ever been to.
Have you had In-N-Out?
I don't... crap, have I?
It's a West Coast thing.
Oh, okay. Then no, I haven't.
I have... Like, no, they like just got to Texas a year or two ago, I think.
Okay. Then I definitely haven't had them. I've had Five Guys, or Five Guys burgers and fries. I think they're really good, but Five Guys, it's like there's so much food that like afterwards, when you finish eating, you feel terrible.
I mean, is that any different from old?
Are we too loud? So we're good? We're not keeping you up or anything, are we?
No. We got beers, that's it.
No worries.
That's good.
Normally I'd be like, come on over, but we're filming a podcast.
Okay, so what were we saying?
What was I saying?
Five Guys.
Oh, yeah, like, is that any different feeling bad afterwards from other junk food?
I suppose not. But yeah, Five Guys is good. I feel like
good.
They have really good quality burgers. And they always give you so many fries. Like Five Guys, they'll give you so many fries. And it's like, there's no point in ordering a large fries because if you get the regular size, they fill up that entire paper bag with fries. Man. Have you had Five Guys? I keep saying Five Guys.
No, I've had it. Okay. It's been a while, though, for some reason. It's like all over campus. Actually, freshman year, my like roommates went there and they came back with a sack of potatoes. like the Five Guys near campus had this wall of potato sacks. And they just took one.
Like illegally, or they gave them to them?
I don't know. I imagined they had no problem with it because how could you sneak out with a sack of potatoes?
Well, they have sacks of peanuts there at all of them.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Maybe that's what it was. Was it a sack of peanuts?
No, it was a big sack of potatoes. Yeah.
So anyways, this is we've got this fire going. And I think that definitely fall weather is my favorite. I've been saying recently that winter is my favorite season, but I think that it's actually fall.
The transition seasons are just like phenomenal, man. Like,
yeah.
And it's kind of a shame because like I feel like as climate change more and more happens, we're gonna get less and less of the transition.
You know, I keep saying that, but I don't know if that's actually true because, like, I used to say like, oh man, what happened to the seasons? But then I feel like the seasons are still there. It's just sometimes you're busy and you don't notice.
On
them.
one hand,
No. Let me preface real quick. I'm not at all trying to deny climate change. I'm not a climate change denier.
Well, on one hand, we've had an El Nino, which makes this year especially unusual.
I've got these seaweed things too,
sweet.
if you want some.
But on the other hand, this year has been record temperatures, and even with an El Nino, you don't get that unless there's some larger trend happening. You know. Either way, I want to be able to enjoy the season. Like, there are always people who are like, yeah, I would love to move to like California or Florida, like where there's only summer. No, I'm all about the 4 seasons.
Well, a lot of people say they'd like to move and then just travel whenever they want, like other seasons. Yeah. You know, go someplace that's cold.
I'd do the opposite though.
Oh, yeah, I think I would too, actually. But yeah, we really want to do some fall camping.
Oh yeah,
because it's so great to be cold. Outside. In fact, I think we're gonna set up the tent. We're gonna sleep outside.
That's so good.
That's definitely happening.
You went to New York recently. Where did you and Andreas go?
Oh, we went to near the Catskill Mountains. It was Harriman State Park.
Okay, because I went to some preserve with a friend. It was like it started with an M, but it was also near the Catskills, and like I remember seeing your vlog, and there was a lot of like rocky stuff, and
it was an amazing place, man.
Yeah, I went on this trail. It was like just off the visitor center parking lot. You hike for a bit, go down, cross the stream, then you start going back up, suddenly you're on this big rocky ridge, blueberry bushes covering the entire thing, big open flat rocks, kind of like in Red River, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And you just see the hills on the edge of this rocky cliff, and they're like covered in fall colors, and I'd never seen anything like that.
So you've been posting pictures to Instagram.
Yeah.
And they've been unbelievable, man. Like, I mean, it's like Instagram filters and stuff, but still.
Mm-hmm. And hey, maybe I should post more of those on our Adventure Archives Instagram.
Oh, I thought they were on the Adventure Archives.
Oh, no. Well, I posted like 4 of them in a collage, but no, that was like, I'd always seen fall colors, but I've never seen it like on the mountains, you know?
Yeah. You know, one of the coolest places I went to was when I was in Japan and I went to the mountain. It was Mount Bonomine.
Mm-hmm.
Man, it was like something about like what's so interesting about Japan to me is like the density of everything.
Yeah.
So like there's these mountains, but like everything's so dense. So like there's like roads packed in and there's houses packed in and you got all these different rolling vistas. But for whatever reason, when you were talking about like fall colors, I was just thinking about that place. The fall colors must be beautiful there. And I feel like another good thing about...
We got to go to Japan.
Oh, dude,
someday.
we really do. Like, I don't think it's that... Well, the logistics-wise, that's like the easiest international country we can go to. Because we've got people there and it'd be so easy. It's just the price-wise. It's pretty expensive.
Yeah.
Like a ticket's like $1,000.
I mean, we might as well stay and do... We could film a urban thing or something.
Oh. Maybe we should just plan that as our next big trip next year. That'd be huge, man. Make a ton of videos there.
That'd be cool.
We could do... we could even do like retro game hunting videos.
Oh, yeah.
That'd be fun.
Oh, you know, it's funny. Thomas and I recorded a podcast a while back, and it just... Well, first of all, it never got put together or put up. And second of all, it was kind of like a terrible episode because, like, our theme was disappointment. And it's like, that's a bad theme to go on.
That's a terrible theme, dude.
But I
like
realized
the most
that...
uplifting thing ever. It's a downlifting episode.
I realized that I've never talked about my Hawaii trip that I took back in June.
Oh, yeah, you haven't. Well, you actually filmed that, too, with the intention of editing it.
Yeah, the intent. I will put it together eventually, but
Yeah, go ahead, sorry. I'm just checking the levels.
So, one of the best stories I have that I'm allowed to tell.
You're allowed to tell anything.
No, so I went to Hawaii to go to this... Actually, it wasn't really to attend a wedding. It was just to go with my friend Jess, whose sister had a wedding. But I got into Hawaii a day early. So I had one night by myself. I stayed at an Airbnb. But I'm in this like really touristy city called Waikiki. It's on the island of Oahu where like Pearl Harbor and stuff is.
Oahu, whenever people say that, it sounds like Wahoo to me. Which is just like from the movie True Lies. Sorry, go on.
But it's like a very like touristy sort of town. And I just wanted to like find something a little different, you know? So I started wandering, like, so you got the beach and you got all the strips like in front of it with like big restaurants. Denny's and Hard Rock Cafe, for whatever reason, people go there on vacation. But I wandered like into some alley and there was like a little bar and I was like, wow, this is like a cool little dive bar. Like I didn't think I'd find a dive bar here. So I walk in, it's like literally one little room. It's got the bar and like 3 booths, people sitting all around. Very colorful place, like lots of colored lights. And I sit down and I ask for a beer, and then this like really hunky looking Asian dude, like me if I were ripped and a little older and tanner, comes over to me and like starts rubbing my back. And I'm like, wait a minute. What bar is this? He starts like rubbing on me and I'm like, oh, I'm sorry. I'm like, I'm straight. Like I totally would if I weren't. Like turned out to be a gay bar, but it was like such a cool little place. And we had some drinks with them. I talked with them. And then afterwards they took me to another gay bar, like a little bit, like maybe 2 blocks away. And man, that was really fun just to like meet locals, like people who just live there, know the culture, and do things that they do, you know?
Oh yeah, yeah.
And,
that's so hilariously fun. And you know, I think Rick Steves actually talks about that a lot.
Yeah.
He's a travel show guy, and he does guides and stuff. But or tours. But he's always talking about living as a local.
Yeah.
And like trying to meet locals. And then like that's such a cool thing.
It seems
and
so daunting. Like
it's easier than it thinks when you think. You know, if you
So
just
much
go, bars are like the best place to do it
because everyone's already like whatever, you know.
Yeah. But like when I was in Japan, like you can actually see a vlog episode.
Oh yeah,
of that.
the guy.
Yeah, I just went to some random like little. They call them yakiniku, which means like grilled meat, but they're like little little restaurants where you can go get grilled, all sorts of grilled meat, and then you drink beer, and then you get drunk with other salarymen, which are basically just Japanese office workers. But I went there, and then just some random Japanese dude was like, "Hey, you want to sit and drink beer?" And I was like, "Yes, I do."
So what do you think spurred that? Like, is that a thing that happens a lot in the culture, or
well, I think
just saw that you were a tourist, or
especially if you're a foreigner, and like I went to a place that I guarantee only locals go to. They saw there's some dude here who is clearly not a local. We got to invite him into the circle. And that's what he did. It was awesome.
It's probably a lot easier to spot a local in Japan than in America.
That's true, yeah.
Actually, it's funny. This haircut. Every time before
My
season
new haircut.
before season 2, which is how I time. Like every time I'd go to like a Chinese restaurant or a Chinese market, they would already know that I was a USA or an ABC, American born Chinese. Ever since getting this haircut, they assume that I'm an international student, and they like start talking to me in Chinese, and I'm like,
really?
Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that.
That's because they're so much more stylish. But no, meeting locals is the best. Like, something I've been thinking about is what is fun to do when you travel? Because a lot of times the things I come up with. Okay, so there's like wilderness stuff I always like. Museums I like. And then after that, it's like beer and drinking. And then I realized after Hawaii, like I love just talking to locals.
Yeah, it was really fun.
What else is there, like in travel?
Well, for me, it's like exploring.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
So it's like pick a direction and just go. And then just see what happens. And then if something looks cool, go investigate it. You know, like even if like there's nothing going to come out of it, like you're not going to buy anything, you're not going to meet anybody, whatever. Just go somewhere that looks interesting.
Yeah.
And then just find somewhere new, you know?
You know, one thing I love is like thinking about it's a really weird thing I think about, but it's like thinking about the mundane stuff that exists in completely different worlds. So like you go halfway around the world and go to some mundane street alley or something that like nobody gives a second thought to.
Right.
But somehow like it's so weird being there, like in a completely different place. And like going to Paris, you know, obviously there's the Eiffel Tower, there's the Arch or whatever. But imagine just like seeing some mundane little like industrial park in France, just outside of Paris or something.
Just like even something like as simple as like some trash cans, right? Like just like the difference of a trash can in a foreign place versus your home. You know, it's like everything's different, and it's like so cool to like soak up all the different cultures and everything.
Yeah. And because I feel like when you do the big stuff that are like touristy attractions, then you're just like scratching it on the surface, you know. And maybe like somehow going to these mundane places, you get a taste for like what it's like to just live there.
Well, I think when I traveled in the past, like when I was a kid, and basically when I wasn't in charge of the traveling, right?
Yeah.
I felt like if we didn't go to all the big places that everybody's supposed to go to, like New York would be like Statue of Liberty, and then Paris would be like the Eiffel Tower and all that stuff. If you didn't go there, you felt like you didn't get doing it properly, you know? But I feel like more than that, now what I value is just going and immersing yourself in anything.
Yeah.
Just the fact that you're there and that it just the experience as a whole is much more important than the specifics of anything.
And like that's the philosophy we apply to wilderness, because it's like you can go to a huge big name national park, but if you just drive to things that everyone knows about, that's it's fun, but like being in the backcountry in Yellowstone.
Oh man, yeah,
man,
it's so great, dude. Yeah. Like it was funny too because when you looked up the Yellowstone route, people who I think you asked on Reddit, right?
Thomas did, but yeah.
Okay, he asked on Reddit, "Is like, what do you think of this trail?" And people said, "Oh, it's kind of boring, blah blah blah." We went there and were like blown away.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of times it's just like expectations, right? And like our expectations were, I don't know what our expectations were. There's zero.
See, I think like a lot of people, they have this idea that the thing you get out of a trip is like what you see versus, and like some of it is what you see, but I think they think it's what you see versus what you experience. Like they, like you go to Japan, you go to some random town no one's heard of. Yeah, like you didn't see something really spectacular maybe, but your interactions with the locals and your like eating of the actual food,
right,
that's
what
matters, man. Like,
you know what's so funny is like I think, I don't know if other people have this. I know you and I certainly have this, but sometimes I get this sense that like I just still haven't, like, I'm not living my life yet. Like I'm like, oh, if only I have this, if only I had that. I think lots of people, I had that to varying degrees at different times. Like right now I don't have that, but I've certainly had that thought before, like, oh, if only I did this, then man, I would just be really doing it, you know? And I think that especially when it comes to something like travel or the wilderness, it's just like, man, that experience, that the simple experience of making fast noodles at your campsite, that is the whole point of the trip. Yeah. Like, that's like not the point of the trip and the point of the trip at the same time. If you know what I mean.
Are you referring to like Yellowstone noodles or?
No, I just use fast noodles as an example.
Yeah, no, it's
but it's just like it's every single little moment.
Yeah.
That makes the trip.
Yeah, especially in the wilderness, man. It's like our very first backpacking trip to Shenandoah. I remember thinking like, you know, there's nothing extremely spectacular, but the feeling you have just being out there, completely free. That's what it's all about.
That is what it's all about, man.
Okay, here's a question I've often thought about though is,
hold on. Oh, I'm going to hold you for a second. We're going to go refill our glasses, get this fire stoked, and then we're going to continue.
Sounds good.
Okay, and we're back. I just realized this is the first Campfire Chronicles where we're actually next to a campfire.
This is the way to do it.
This is totally the way to do it. Like, I don't know if this is more enjoyable to listen to / watch, but it's certainly more enjoyable to record.
Absolutely. Okay, what I was gonna ask you before the break. So we were talking about travel. If you, actually, I guess it sort of does apply to you, but you probably haven't done this. But if you had someone from another country come to America and ask you, take me to like authentic American restaurants. Give me the authentic American experience.
Oh,
what would you do?
Well, you know, like as far as like a restaurant, you know, I could take them to like a place like, God, I can't remember what that place is called, but there's just like local continental style, you know, and they got burgers, they got
the one
steaks.
In Evansville, you mean?
No, just like, you know, it's kind of like, it's just American continental, but a local place, so not like a Applebee's or a Chili's, although that would be more or less American. But where I would really take them, like if you ask me specifically, I would take them to Puccini's, not for the restaurant experience, but for like authentic American pizza.
Wait, what is that?
It's a pizza place.
Oh, okay.
It's just local to Indiana, but it's like my favorite pizza place. But like as far as like an experience, I'd probably, man, where would I take them? I don't know. I mean, I would take them to just like one of the chains, like as sad as it is, like American restaurants, like off, especially here, like the main thing are chains. Like at least for me, because I don't go to that many restaurants, maybe I would look for a local restaurant that I could take them to. Why did you ask the question?
No, because it is such a nebulous, like you go to another country and you're like, I know exactly where I need to go. I need to go to some local restaurant that serves this culture's food. America is such a nebulous place, and I think it's two reasons. One is when we think of American culture, a lot of times we think of like European culture, which is all different European countries blended together, and we're not really. And there's so like so many of the chains originate from America. So you can't take them there because, like, yeah, it's American, but it's a chain, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But I think, like, the other thing is I think we forget that America's made up of other cultures.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, I'm thinking of Columbus and how there's a big Somali population. I'd have to take someone to a Somali restaurant.
Yeah.
And, like, I was also thinking, like, Chinese takeout. It's funny because that is such a uniquely American thing. It's not Chinese at all. Like,
yeah, that's true. It's as uniquely American, even though it's technically Chinese food.
Yeah, it is so distinctly American. Like, Chinese takeout is such a New York thing too, you know? But it's also all across the country.
So it's funny because now that you've said that, you made me realize that if I took them to a restaurant in Indianapolis, I would take them to this place called Sichuan that actually closed. It was my favorite restaurant before they closed. The owners moved to Florida, but they didn't like it there, and they came back, so they're opening again.
Oh, that's awesome.
So if they open again, I'll take them there. But it's like a Chinese restaurant. But yeah, no, it's kind of funny because there's no uniquely American food besides hot dogs and hamburgers.
Yeah.
But even hamburgers is like from Hamburg.
Hot dogs too.
You know?
Like, that's like Germany or something.
Oh,
like,
yeah, I
or
guess you're right.
something, Yeah.
Yeah, no, it's weird. It's like we are the...
Actually, Mexican food, like, because North American, Native American food, I don't think we do enough of that to, like, know what it is.
yeah, I have no clue.
But Mexican food is kind of like a blend of indigenous and Spanish food. So that might be, like, the closest thing. One of the... Creole food. Like, Creole and Southern food, soul food, like, that's also what I think of when I think American food.
Yeah, you know, Thanksgiving style soul food. That's like pretty uniquely American too. I'm curious, like, maybe you guys can leave comments below. If we visited your country, what sort of restaurant would you take us to? Like, or just anybody. Like, if anybody visited your country and they were at your house, where would you take them to be like?
Even if you're from the U.S. or Canada, like, I'm curious to hear what people say.
Yeah. Yeah, you know, now that I think about it. So I did study abroad. I did study abroad in Japan. And I remember there was nowhere, like, specific that they took me. But there's, like, a couple of uniquely Japanese foods, like ramen. Like, which, if a lot of people don't know this, but ramen in Japan is, like, actually, like, a real noodle dish that's really good. It's not super expensive or anything. It's, like, maybe $10 for a bowl. But it's not, like, 50 cents for a pack. It's not like just fast noodles. And then also sushi. Of course, everybody knows sushi. And it was funny because I had lived in Japan at my host family's house for a couple of months before we finally had sushi. And it was just like there was lots of other stuff that my host mother cooked for me that was much more interesting than sushi. But of course, you have to try that at some point.
Oh, yeah. No, it is kind of frustrating. Like, Thai food, I think, is the biggest thing for me. Like, we think of Thai food, it's just like pad Thai. Is green curry common? Because I've only just had that. Okay. But I feel like there's so much more to it that we don't know about. Like, and I don't know. It's just like sometimes it is frustrating. You go to a market and you're like, why is there not more variety?
Well, you can't have the whole package. You know, it's kind of like you get the highlights. Like when anything is exported. When a religion is exported, when a food is exported, you kind of get the Cliff Notes version.
But it's like based on people's local taste. And I don't,
that too, for sure.
I don't know that that's always the best judge of the cuisine, you know?
That's true. Well, I mean, that's interesting because, like, McDonald's in other countries has different items.
Yeah.
Like, somebody just recently was talking about something at McDonald's in Chile. Like, he took it for granted that all McDonald's had that, and then he came to America and was like, this guy named Zero, he's a pro Smash Brothers player, but he was talking about it, but I can't remember what. But, like, Japanese McDonald's, they have, like, teriyaki burgers.
Yeah.
Which
it's really interesting.
Which is interesting because teriyaki is kind of been co-opted as an American Japanese food. Yeah. But I suppose it is actually. I don't know.
Well, in Beijing, they had, like, Japanese-style curry at KFC.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Really interesting.
Japanese-style curry is great. Have you had that?
Yeah. At least...
well, they just put, like, some pork... curry
like
and over
pork
rice.
Cutlets, rice, and they always have those, like, red pickled radishes.
If you could get that delivery, I would get that right now. I'd be like, so in Japan, the XL size is called omori. I'm like, man, we need to get 2 omori katsukare right now.
Fungao right
on the double.
Yeah, I love visiting cities that have Chinatowns. Because there is so much good food that you usually don't get in other places. Like
yeah.
frog legs.
Oh,
pig
man.
intestine, everything.
Although I will say, so we went to Toronto in the Algonquin episode, which will be coming out soon.
Mm-hmm. You watch right now,
if you can watch it right now, if you go to patreon.com/adventure and you pay $2. But, so in the post-hike meal, sorry, this is spoilers for those of you who haven't seen it. We went to
Just skip ahead 1 minute.
Oops, I dropped a piece of jerky. By the way, sorry for the chewing and eating sounds. I know that might not be the most pleasant, but it's making our experience so much better. But we went to Markham.
1 minute, 15 seconds.
And we went. We ate at this fantastic dim sum place. And they had all sorts of weird foods. We had pig intestine. We had pig ear and all that stuff.
All parts of the pig, except the main part.
But I will say, while it was fun and it was good, I would still rather get regular dishes that taste really good.
What's regular though? Like
generally like the meat. Although I will say like liver, I like a lot because it's like
liver's it's got a really unique flavor.
It's like things like pig ear. I'm like, that's only what you eat if you eat the whole animal, which I'm totally down with, actually. I wish we used more of the animal.
I've had pig ear better, though. Like, I've had it prepared better, I think.
Oh, okay, because maybe that pig ear wasn't that good. That fried pig intestine was pretty good, though.
Yeah,
that was really, like, soft and buttery.
I had some snails recently at this, like sea snails, at a Vietnamese and Thai place. And, like, there's a sauce called Xiao Sha Oats or something. And it's like lemongrass and chili. I fell in love, and like it was almost. I mean, the snails were good, but it's almost wasted.
Wait a minute. You fell in love with the snails?
No, the sauce, the seasoning.
The sauce. Okay. I don't know. Either way, because I mean, falling in love with the food is a fantastic thing.
Oh yeah. Actually, first time I had snails.
I mean, falling in love, period, is a fantastic thing. But falling in love with food is also a fantastic thing.
First time I had snails is like French style. Escargot.
Was
like mushrooms. Huh?
Was Fall Festival the first time you had escargot?
No, I had it before that. No, actually, there's a great anecdote from that. You want to tell it? About the escargot?
Oh, you mean just like how you're not supposed to eat it fast?
Yeah.
Okay, so we went to Fall Festival in Evansville. Speaking of Evansville, not this past time. Actually, I went there for the Fall Festival recently.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we just barely went there. We just went there for lunch.
Oh,
but,
no, I think I saw like a thumbnail.
But we went like ages ago, like in 2010. And it was me, Bryan, Andrew, and a bunch of other people. My buddy Jordan, and then all the Evansville crew. And we went to the Fall Festival, and the Fall Festival is like the second largest street festival in America. And they
Sorry, go on.
and they sell
Spilling my beer.
and they sell all sorts of foods, but escargot is one of them. And we were eating the escargot, and then somebody was afraid to eat it and was like, "Oh no, you just gotta close your eyes and just swallow it." I'm like, no. If you're gonna be eating this, there's no point in expediting the experience, okay? Because like, if you want to expedite the experience where you don't even feel it,
that's not an
then
experience
just
at
don't
all.
even eat it at all.
Yeah.
You know? So I was like, no, put that in your mouth, swish it around.
Put that in your mouth. Enjoy that.
Let your tongue like really like taste it and just like go for it. Okay, like melt into either the comfortableness or uncomfortableness. It's kind of like, I mean, we talked about that so many times.
Yeah.
It's like relaxing into the discomfort. That's a great phrase. Yeah. Relaxing into the discomfort.
Good job. Way to sum it all up. No, that's the thing. Okay, like the only things you shouldn't want to eat ever are human, dog, and cat. Like if a culture has been eating a food, go for it, man. Like these people have been around for hundreds, thousands of years. They know what's good, you know. They're not gonna eat something that tastes bad.
Yeah.
No one's gonna eat something that tastes bad unless it's like really cheap or something.
Or like, even if what they're eating is like, so like collard greens is a great example. That's kind of an American food. But collard greens are basically like a weed, right? But there's a tradition behind it. And it's prepared in such a way that it doesn't taste like dog crap.
People are inventive and ingenious.
Right. Like when necessity arrives, you find a way to make things work.
And like the limitations that's when magic happens. Like soul food, it's because slaves were given the worst parts of the animal. But my God, like, I would much rather have like pig feet or something than just regular.
Here's an interesting thing. Here's a really interesting thing. Early humans, they went after the organ meat, and they gave the muscle meat to the dogs.
No, yeah, the liver is always the most like honored thing to have.
Yeah,
you kill the animal, you're eating that liver raw right there.
Yeah. It's like those. It like we know now scientifically that those are the most nutrient dense parts of the food. But it's so funny that we've lost that. Yeah. And like now we're like, oh man, I only want white meat chicken tenders. But like we're missing so much when we don't explore those other parts of the food.
You know what though? Like I've ranted about the dark meat, white meat thing before. Go ahead and keep saying white meat is better because the dark meat
No, that's fantastic because it makes the dark meat cheaper.
It's cheaper.
And it's more available to us.
Like it's like how lobster used to be like a poverty food because they basically thought it was a giant bug in the sea. But now it's like, oh man, if only it were still a poverty food.
Yeah.
Like, hey, you want some lobster? I got 5 right here.
Yes, I do. Let me bask that butter on it right now.
I've always had it with vinegar. It's good stuff.
Man, that's great. Best lobster I ever had. So, my mom, she used to have a timeshare in Belize, which is in Central America. Okay? So, my brother and I and her, we went there together one time. And we went to just some local restaurant. They served lobster. They came out, man, served that lobster, put butter on it. It was so good. Like, the memory of it right now tastes good in my mouth. Like, that's how good it was. God, it was so good. Because it was, like, naturally fresh, right? Another good eating story from that trip. We went on this, like, fishing tour or whatever. As you know, as you guys may not know, I get very hangry, which is, angry when you're hungry. And so we were on this like little fishing trip, and we were just waiting for the food because the tour guides, they were actually like spear fishing. So they were snorkeling and like fishing and stuff. They're getting our lunch ready. They got the lunch ready. We parked at an island, and then they put all the food in foil and then cooked it all together with the fish they had just caught and the vegetables.
Oh, man.
And they cooked it all up and then gave us like this loaf of white bread. It was amazing. Like, one of the best meals I've ever had. Like, I keep a rolling track of the top 10 best meals I've ever had. That's on there.
When I went to Bangladesh, oh my God, so much of the food was so good.
I can't even imagine, dude.
It was so good.
Like, right now we're eating this beef jerky, and I'm just like thinking about
oh my God,
all the other food. I'm just using this as a proxy.
It was like grilled fish and like all these vegetables. Oh my God. We had like one dish with like bitter melon. Like South Asian and East Asian bitter melon are different. Like South Asian's way smaller.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's like a lot smaller. But man, it was so good. And like, I remember every meal there's some sort of flatbread. Like one of them is just tortillas. Yeah. I didn't like that as much. But like sometimes it's these big poofy fried breads and like.
Oh, dude, when I went to New York and I met up with Andreas, we went to. Actually, it's funny. We went to an Indian restaurant that was at the same location of this place called, forgot what the name was, but it was a soul food place. Oh, Soul Fixins.
Oh, man.
And actually, Adam and Danny, they were just telling me recently, they're like, man, Soul Fixins was amazing. I was like, oh, it closed. Remember we were talking about that last night?
Yeah.
But anyways, we went to that Indian restaurant, and they showed us how they made the naan bread.
I remember seeing
just
that.
slapping it against that clay oven.
Yeah, it's on the wall, right?
Yeah, it's so cool.
That's the thing is like, I totally get it, like, but it's so easy to get squeamish of other food. But like, this is like, we're in 2016, and these civilizations have been around for thousands of years. Good food is guaranteed. Like,
so I heard recently that figs are like, they have like dead wasp in them or something.
I heard that too.
And I'm like, I don't care at all. Like, why would you even care? Like,
if it's how it is, then
yeah,
like,
that's how it is, and they taste delicious. Like, go for it, man.
That's so weird.
Like,
kind of makes it cool. Does that mean it's not vegan and vegetarian? Like, that's kind of weird.
So there's a couple of things. Okay, so like, whenever I'm scared to do something, and it's not something that is, okay, let me rephrase. Whenever I'm scared to do something and other people are doing it, I know there's no reason for me to be scared to do it.
Yeah.
You know?
Unless it's like a skill thing.
Oh, if it's a skill thing, that's a little different.
But it's like jumping rocks, man. Every time I campsite, I see people jumping, I'm going. But anyway, go ahead.
No, that was basically the extent of what I wanted to say. But just like, if you're scared to eat something because you're like, oh, that's weird and I've never done it before, like, just ask yourself, is somebody else eating that? Have they said that it's okay for you to eat it? If they say it's okay for you to eat it, man, just go for it. And like, dig into the experience.
Yeah.
You know, don't
skirt your way around it.
Don't plug your nose and just swallow it without chewing.
Because then you haven't grown, you know?
Yeah, no, I mean, like, really allow yourself to do it. Here's a funny story. When I was a kid, I did not like pizza.
What? Wait, what? Yes. How is this even possible?
That's what I asked. But
it had to be tomato sauce that did it.
No, I think it was cheese. I didn't really like cheese as a kid.
Wow.
But for whatever reason, I didn't like cheese. But it's funny because the turtles, they ate pizza. And like, I was just like, man, I want to be like the turtles so badly that I started eating pizza.
It's so funny.
Speaking of which, I want to order a pizza so badly right now.
I mean, if you want to skirt good decision making, I am right there with you. I am right there with you.
Well, we might need to take a break for that battery, so we might take a break real quick. We might be back with pizza after this. We'll see you in a few minutes. Okay, so we've made the bad decision. We've ordered the pizza at 10 o'clock at night.
Yes. And you know, as my friend would say, everything in moderation, including moderation itself.
So here's the funny thing, dude. It's like, whatever you do, I think the true key is you must acknowledge what you're doing. You can't lie about it, okay? Just so, like, if you're going to make a bad decision, just say to yourself, I am going to make a bad decision.
Yeah.
And then just do it, you know? Because then at least you don't have that added friction of where your body is trying to rationalize something that you're doing, you know?
Oops.
Is that your phone? So anyways, if you guys are curious, we got a pepperoni pizza and some garlic breadsticks.
Yeah.
From Papa John's, but they're the only place open right now, so.
Yeah.
I remember when I was living in New York, I had this friend. Her name was Margie. She's a great friend. I haven't talked to her in a long time, but
I remember her from a video or something.
Yeah,
the
she's hilarious because she was always like looking for adventurous, fun stuff for us to do. And she was like, "Oh, we should all go to Papa John's for lunch today. They just opened a Papa John's." It was like the first time Papa John's had been in New York City. And like me coming from Indiana, I'm like, "You want to go to Papa John's as if it's actually something good?" And we went there, and then they were all extremely disappointed. And I'm like, yeah, sorry, guys. I should have told you in advance that it would be really disappointing.
Wait. Oh, so is that like a Midwest thing that's never been to New York until then?
Well, it's not specifically Midwest, I don't think, but it just had never been in New York City specifically before that. Okay. It was like Midtown, basically.
I cannot tell the difference between chains. There is one chain.
I mean, you can tell the difference between Pizza Hut and Papa John's for sure, right?
Which one of them has like the really oily crust?
That's Pizza Hut.
Okay.
That's their pan pizza.
Because it always makes me think of the youtiao, the oil sticks, the fried bread.
Chinese
fried bread, yeah. What was I? Oh, yeah. So there was a new place opening in Philadelphia called Ampersand Pizza. I think
that's funny.
I think they mean for you to call it and pizza, but they use an ampersand. So I will refer to it as ampersand pizza. But they like before their grand opening, they like kept having like people go inside and like they had dance parties or something. Like it was really weird. Yeah, like if you were cool enough, you could go in and have a dance party.
Well, speaking of last night, when we went to that wedding, it was a couple cool things happened. One is that the bride and the groom, they prepared a first dance ahead of time It was fantastic, dude. Like they actually had a nice little choreography. It wasn't just like them standing there basically and neither of them knowing what to do. It was great.
I've never seen a first dance that good.
Yeah, no,
actually the DJ
fantastic.
said he hadn't either. He might have flattered them, but
I don't think so.
he wouldn't have said that if he wasn't
That
impressed on
DJ
something.
was good too.
Yeah.
Let me tell you something. Being a DJ is like I think the importance is underrated because you really need to know how to keep the audience going.
Yeah.
Like that's very important to play those. Oh, nice. To play those songs that like really get people going, and then like sometimes slowing it down just a little bit, playing a little old-timey song so that the older people can kind of want to dance to.
Is that why they always do Electric Slide and Cha-Cha?
Well, they always start with Cha-Cha,
What's the other one?
Cupid Shuffle.
No, Cupid Shuffle, that's what it's called.
The Electric Slide and all that stuff. They start with those because everybody can just follow along. There's instructions.
See, on one hand, I appreciate that everyone can do it. On the other hand, I'm banning them from whatever wedding I ever. I don't know. It's like singing. It's like singing Journey at karaoke.
Oh,
just a small town girl.
Yeah.
Like everybody does it, and it's just like it's not that. I don't know.
No, I get you. No, so I was a Zumba instructor. I mean, I technically am, but things like the Cupid Shuffle, like what's great about that is you don't need a leader.
Yeah,
like the steps are literally in the song.
Yeah.
You have just one or two people who know what they're doing, or who have done it before, and then everybody can follow along, and it just repeats over and over. So I mean, I understand either way, but but we did a. Were you weren't dancing for the game?
I was talking to the best one, not the best man, but one of the groomsmen, the guy who was my friend's brother.
Yeah. So, but at one point we did the Gangnam Style dance. Yeah. So my cousins Jolie and Danny, they were saying that they frequently do the Gangnam Style.
Mm-hmm. It's based on your choreography.
Yeah, from Zumba.
And that bald guy who was dancing really well complimented you.
Oh yeah, I complimented him right back because there was this dude who could dance like none other. It was amazing.
Awesome, yeah. No, I love that, man.
Oh, but speaking of which, we've talked about this before, but like, there really is no right way to dance.
Yeah.
Like, I swear to God, man, like, if you are moved by that music, you will know what to do. Just start moving, and like, if you're doing something completely stupid, like if you just start going...
If you do it with confidence, and you do the full motion, you don't try to restrict it.
No, like, not only is it attractive and looks good, but you will feel good doing it.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I guarantee you, if you came in with like, oh, I'm supposed to do this, this, and this when I dance, you will not have a good time.
Yeah.
But if you just let your body do what it's going to do, you're going to have a great time.
Think of how intertwined music and humanity is,
Oh,
We've
yeah.
been playing music we've been dancing for thousands of years, Of course, we're going to have some sort of naturals. Maybe some people better than others. Like, I'm not that rhythmic, but but you're going to have something inside of you that wants to move.
Yeah, it's something that just wants... Like, it's like how we like to exercise.
Yeah.
Like, we like that feeling of using what we have.
Yeah.
We have these bodies for a reason.
Yeah.
And, like, sometimes they're used to go kill things and hunt, but other times they're just used to just jump around like a little... jumping bean,
That's what it's all about. Sitting around a fire, dancing, eating.
Man, I'm looking forward to setting up that tent and sleeping outside tonight.
Oh, yeah.
That's going to be fantastic.
Oh, that's going to be good.
I suppose we don't even really need to set up a tent. We can just...
drag some blankets out.
Just sleep straight on the lawn.
We've done that plenty of times on actual trips. So.
Yeah, that's true. So I'm curious, right now we're burning like a rose bush or something. Isn't that like something from the Bible?
There's a burning bush, that's all I know.
I think it's a rose bush. But I'm just curious, what happens to the thorns when they burn? Do they just burn into ash?
These thorns are not actually thorns. They are something else. So there's like 3 different types of thorns. One is like a modified leaf. Another is a modified something else. Like one of these... those horizontal lines on like certain trees? It's one of those that's modified. Like a cherry tree or like a birch tree, you see those lines. There's a term for that, and like there's another, like a spine or something is a modified one of those, and then whatever's on this, I think this is actually a spine, is just like a bark. Like it's not... So like on some plants, thorns will be like where a branch or a tree or a leaf would normally come out of. The point being that it would probably burn like the rest of the wood.
I'm just sitting here going,
like I said some sort of profound philosophical thing.
Man, I love profound philosophical things. Have you ever watched the show Ice Road Truckers?
No, I remember you talking about it many times.
That is the most relaxing show, man. Yeah. It's like these dudes, right? And gals too. There's a girl on that show. She was great, and there's multiple girls. But everybody on that show, they would drive from Alaska to this place called Prudhoe Bay. And like, it was just the most relaxing show to like watch at night and just be like, they faked the drama, and the drama was so stupid. But
still driving. Oh, there's a squirrel.
They would always end the commercial break with like, dun, 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 dun. And it was just like they were passing another truck on the highway. But I don't know what made me think of that. But that was a great show.
Do you remember?
Way better than Adventure Archives.
Do you remember the tweet I sent you from Discovery? And it was like, it was one of those sorts of shows. It was like, but it was one of these Discovery shows where it's like people in a truck and like something about the forest and wilderness. But literally, it was just like drone shots and then a shot of the three people in the truck talking, and they're like saying these scripted things like,
you showed me that.
Yeah, you remember that? And it was like, like dangerous bears are out there, and it was so like weirdly fake and overly dramatized. And in Discovery, if you want us to put our show on your channel, we will.
You know what's really funny is that how much our show is just the real thing. Like it's like it really is pretty much just what we do. Like the only thing that's different is that we actually have to go set up a camera to do what we do. But there's surprisingly little drama or like acting or like fake scenarios. Like to like kind of a pathological degree, really. Because like a lot of stuff we could fake and just make it like much more streamlined and like, or just like make ourselves look better too. Like our crappy fires sometimes, like we could just say, oh, we got a fire started, and not show the whole
debacle.
Yeah, debacle.
Well, it's funny because I feel like a newcomer watching our show, seeing the Allegheny episode, they might think we tried to like overemphasize how scary those sticks were.
Oh,
because you watch it in hindsight, and you're like, well,
it's not that scary. Yeah,
that was scary, man. Like I don't know why.
I was scared. Oh my god, dude. So I was taking point at that time. The wave of fear that washed over me when I saw those sticks was indescribable.
What did you notice first? Was it the ones on the ground? Because I know you mentioned that, and I didn't even notice those at first.
I don't know. I just like the whole thing, and I was just like, I literally stopped dead in my tracks. You can see that in the video. But just like, you know that wave of fear that you get when something terrifying happens? Yeah. I was just like,
what's happening? You know, like.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, God. This is so scary.
The thing that caught my attention was this one stick. It was like the second from the left. There were four
Yeah. I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah, and it had like, it looks like a person. It had like a second little branch coming off the bottom.
Yeah.
It almost had like moss on the bottom, like boots. It had like a limb coming out at the top that looked like an arm. And somehow to me, it looked like a person. And it was just like,
did look a little like a person. Like, I understand how
so unsettling.
That, yeah. We got to get some lighting. Put some of them leaves on there.
Man, the Halloween's coming up. Speaking of which.
The Halloween.
Yeah.
Man, this is a good night, dude. Yeah. You can actually see a fair number of stars out here, too.
I love, like, one great thing about living in suburbia is the air quality.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. It's fantastic. It smells so good at this time of year. It's like that cold, crisp air.
Yeah. Good times.
This is good times. Good times indeed. Man, you know what'd be nice? If we had Thomas and Bryan here.
We're gonna be doing those commentaries soon.
Oh yeah, so
That's
that's have we talked about that anywhere publicly?
We mentioned it at the beginning of the episode.
Oh, okay. Yeah, well, we're going to be doing commentaries for the episodes, which should be pretty fun. Get some behind the scenes. Was that a thorn? I don't know what that was. So have we talked about in a previous podcast about a place that you would really like to go, like as far as another country goes?
I think so, but go ahead. Norway?
Oh, yeah, we did, definitely. Because Norway is mine. If you already know it. Although a U.S. road trip would be really cool.
Yeah.
You know, isn't
Actually,
it?
go ahead.
No, go ahead. Mine's a whole different kind of tangent.
I was thinking it'd be really fun to go on a road trip and just film it like a movie or something.
Oh,
And like thinking about how you'd get the wilderness, you get the rural towns, you get like the cities.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you
all
get
the
everything.
flavors,
Yeah.
and like seeing all the different. Oh, I love it, man! I love the idea of just having all your stuff in one van. You got your friends, and you're
So
just
appealing, man.
experiencing. Yeah. Oh.
What I was going to say is, so interesting how there's that constant push and pull, at least for me, of wanting stability
Yeah.
and staying at home and safety, and then the other part of wanting adventure
Mm-hmm.
and unpredictableness and going out to places you've never
Which one do you
experienced
feel more of?
Well, no, it varies.
Mm-mm.
Like I think probably the majority of the time I feel like the home thing,
Uh-huh.
but when I'm feeling like really physically healthy and like really good, it's usually like the exploring and let's go do things.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, physical health definitely has a lot because like
Oh, it's a huge part of it, dude.
there's so many days where I'm like I just want to sit here and like play video games.
Mm-hmm.
But if I feel healthy, then I'm like, yeah, let's like go do something.
Yeah, like today's a perfect instance.
Mm.
Like I felt really good today, and I was like, before we left back to come back here from Evansville,
Mm-hmm.
it was like, yo, let's go do something. We just went out and played Frisbee, right?
Yeah, yeah,
And that was fantastic, and that was like nothing special, but
yeah.
like you
Just
just had
being
this
out there.
desire to go like do something,
Mhm.
you know?
And I wonder sometimes if like our ancestors had a great best of both worlds sort of blend because like a lot of hunter-gathering people were nomadic, but they all stick together, so there was always a sense of home, you know? Okay. The pizza has arrived.
We're back.
I don't remember what I was talking about before,
I don't either.
and I realized I've had this headlamp around my neck the whole time.
You have.
We apologize if you don't currently have a pizza and breadsticks in front of you. You're watching this on YouTube. Oh.
Yeah, so we got garlic breadsticks and supreme pizza. It's like such a terrible idea, but it's like
Really bad idea.
it's like that's what these companies prey on, man. They prey on people like us who are just hungry late at night and like, hey, we'll just deliver it to you.
Vegetables, man.
Yeah, I feel like you gotta have vegetables on a pizza. Like pepperoni and cheese is like one of my favorites, but vegetables really do add a lot to it.
My friend Jess had a roommate who never ate vegetables. I was like, what? I think he went on a diet at some point and started eating salad, but
He didn't eat vegetables at all?
almost. Hardly ever, apparently.
Oh, that's really weird.
Today's theme is guilty pleasures. What's your opinion on patting away the grease on pizza?
Is that a thing that people do?
You didn't know that?
I mean, I suppose I did know that some people do that, but why would you do that? You're eating greasy pizza. Just leave the grease on.
I'm trying to be healthy, I guess. I think the wrong step was taken when you ordered the pizza. In terms of being healthy.
You know what the constant balance is? Understanding that, yes, nobody lives forever, so you might as well live it up.
Mm.
But at the same time, let's not go too crazy.
That's so true. Like, don't do this every day, you know, but
Dude, what's your favorite pizza?
What do you mean? Like brand or type?
Both. But I was specifically thinking, like, what's your favorite pizza shop?
Honestly, I have no idea. Like, every time I've had pizza, they've all been really good. I've never ranked them. I've never been able to rank them.
What do you mean you never been able to rank them?
Well, maybe part of it is I just haven't had all the chains enough, but like...
Well, I mean, like local pizza. My favorite pizza place is local. Poutini's, like I talked about earlier.
I'm trying to think. I feel like... So when I was in college, there were like 3 places. There's Drake's, which is like the campus pizza. Really standard, greasy, thin crust sort of stuff. Good stuff. There's Adriatico's. Whenever people got their stuff, there's always like thick crust, square cut, rectangle pizza. Good stuff. And there's Catfish Bliss, also like thin, sort of greasy stuff, but they also do thick crust. I don't know. Like, I feel like it depends on my mood, but maybe style of pizza is a better way to approach this question.
Yeah, let's not go with place, but like style of pizza.
I haven't had deep dish in so long, but I feel like whenever I've had it, it's been great.
Like Chicago style, where it's like dripping in tomato sauce.
But then some people say that's an abomination, so I don't know. New York style pizza is good, but it's never like struck me as like super special. There's late night slice in Columbus. That's always good, but usually I get it when I'm already like drinking stuff and it's late at night.
Yeah, so you'd eat anything at that point.
Yeah. I think like
my favorite part is the dough. Because like I really like bread.
You like the thick crust.
Yeah, so I like that chewy kind of like this. Papa John's is pretty good.
I don't know, man. Like, it's hard to... One time I made a pizza, and I had found some ramps, like wild garlic, wild leeks. Blended those up, mixed it into the dough with an egg. Made a pizza out of that.
Wow.
That was great.
You put it in the dough itself? Wow, dude.
And I also made linguine that style, too.
You know, one thing I admire about you is that when you make stuff, especially when it comes to cooking, you don't give a crap if it's been done before or if it'll work.
I need to do stuff like that more because, like, I don't know. I feel like I need to do
I feel like you do it all the time. Especially compared to, like, most people.
Maybe.
I don't know, for me, like, I have a tendency to, like, if I don't know exactly how something is supposed to be done, I don't want to do it.
See, I get... Every time I cook... Well, this is almost to a fault, but, like... When I cook, I just do it by eye. I do it more like an art than a science, basically.
Yeah.
And I've been putting off making kimchi so long because I've told myself the next time I do it, I need to get the recipe down. And I haven't done it for like a year now.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
like,
That's funny, too, because I don't really follow a recipe when I make my sauerkraut.
but I thought you had one now.
I suppose I do, but it was never from a recipe. It was just kind of like my eyeball.
But did you like measure it out?
Oh, I suppose I used measuring. I used a tablespoon.
So the other thing is, like, sometimes I get obsessed with certain things. I don't know if that's something people notice about me, but...
I mean, like what?
Well, like... No, you probably noticed. Like, I get into certain things, and, like, my most recent thing I mentioned earlier... It's
like your authentic Mexican tacos.
Yeah, no, exactly. Like, I'll get stuck on one thing for a while, and, like... Kimchi was obviously it for a while. Now it's like I really want to try cooking this like Vietnamese seasoning thing, like cooking something in that seasoning. Lemongrass, chili, garlic.
What seasoning is it?
So like you get oil, lemongrass, chili, sugar, garlic. Which is really good, sweet, savory like seasoning. I had we had this potluck for this Ohio plant class I took once. And I brought 3 cups chicken, like Taiwanese style, where you take 1 part soy sauce, 1 part sesame oil, 1 part like rice wine. Cook the chicken in that, put basil on it. But I also season it with like spice bush berries and stinging nettle. Well, I had stinging nettle as like a vegetable. And then I brought like some puff balls. That was like one of my proudest moments.
That sounds great. I bet people liked it too, didn't they?
Okay, here's a question because someone brought buffalo chicken and everyone loved that. It didn't do much for me.
Like buffalo chicken is like Buffalo Wild Wings type of chicken wing type
It was
of deal?
like ground chicken, but like buffalo seasoning. Maybe because there's no sweetness, but like it didn't do much for me. So is there any like really popular thing you don't like?
Really popular thing I don't like. I can't think of anything off the top of my head. But I will say, one of the easy traps to fall into, I've talked about this before, like in a vlog or something. But it's like whenever something's really popular, like it's really easy to be like, oh, I don't do that, man.
Yeah.
You know, I don't do that stuff. I think specifically in the vlog I was talking about man buns. And like, it's really funny because like I started growing out my ponytail like right when that became in. I didn't know that until after somebody told me. And I had like this really strong desire to be like, oh, I don't want to follow trends. But I really feel like sometimes you need to ignore trends. And like, if it's something you like or something you think is cool, whether it's a trend or it's not a trend, you need to go forth because it's something that you specifically think is cool.
That's funny because like sometimes not following the trend means you're actually following it just as much as anyone else.
Yeah. Because you're a slave to the trend, even though you're not.
Yeah.
That's a really weird thing because, like, as a human, right, you need outside validation to know what you're doing is right. Let's take something like Adventure Archives, for instance, right? We would do the episodes for ourselves, whether anybody was watching or not, right? But would we really put the same amount of effort that we put into it now if only we were watching? You know?
Yeah.
Like, would we just be like, oh, well, that's good enough. Let's put it out just for the fun of it. Like, especially if, like, nobody else was even able to watch it.
We definitely wouldn't be going as, like, often as we... Which is, like, it's not that we don't want to go out as often, but I don't think we'd, like, be motivated.
Yeah, no, it just, like, it's that little push. Because, like, we made so many... We called them good times videos. But it was just, like, videos of our trips and, like, a picture collage slideshow type of deal. We made so many of those, and they literally weren't even posted online. Like, we didn't even post them on YouTube. And if we did post them on YouTube, we post them on our own page. And I guess they technically were public, but they didn't even have names that would be searchable. They would have like 5 views, and they were all ours.
Yeah.
So for all intents and purposes, they were just viewed by us, but we still loved making them, you know? But it's a weird thing because, like, once you have outside validation that people are like, oh, I'm interested in this, it kind of changes the way that you... So it's like it's always that balance. You have to do things for yourself, but also do things for other people.
It's all a balance, yeah. Because obviously you need to remain... You need to keep the integrity and, like, keep doing things that you find good. But having other people wanting to see it really helps.
Yeah. I'm just really enjoying eating this pizza. Here's a topic. How should one live? In the sense that, should we just kind of let life coast along? Or should we be constantly setting goals and then striving for those goals, achieving them, then setting new goals? Now, what's the most important thing in life, you know?
See, I feel like it's more a question of how far out do the goals go? Because in a sense, a lot of times I feel like I let life just go. But I set goals, it's just goals within that same day. I guess if I were going to answer it, to me it's like, so often we're so set on looking so far in the future, we forget about that now. And as a result, I focus a lot on the now, almost to a fault. And I think it's good to have a general idea of where you're going, but...
Because I know for me, like right now my life is going pretty well. Everything's more or less in place. So I'm living day at a time, right? But I have like these vague notions of things I would like to do that I haven't really solidified. And sometimes I wonder if you want those to be a reality, you have to actually solidify them and then make them happen, you know? Not that it really matters either way, because for me, when I really get down to thinking about it, I think like the most important thing is every individual interaction you have with the person, place, thing, what you do, like those individual interactions, that's the most important thing, because those things all combined make up your total experience.
See, I agree with that on a lot of aspects, but I also feel like it's important to keep sight of a larger picture. Because, like, I don't know, you can only do so much as an individual. Sometimes you need a...
Well, if you're talking about specifically social movements, that's kind of a different topic.
Yeah.
But, like, just on an individual level.
Life, yeah. Yeah, you know, it's
like, man, if I worked, like, a minimum wage job, but I was making enough money, and I was having really good, fun, fulfilling interactions with other people every day, would I really care so much that I didn't have the exact job that I wanted, you know?
Yeah, I also think about how, like, if you meet new people, you're not thinking about, oh, how is this person going to fit into the puzzle piece of my life, you know? Like, how, what am I going to bring them to? What am I not going to bring them to? No, you're just focused on the interaction you're having in the moment with them, you know? And I think it'd be weird to focus on anything else besides what's happening in that moment.
That's true. Like right now. Yeah. I'm focusing on how good this pizza tastes. I'm not focusing on the fact that tomorrow I'll be like, I don't feel so great. Maybe I ate a full pizza. That was probably why.
Sometimes it's important to do that. Although a lot of that even is like your current state affects that.
That's true, yeah.
So it's not about just like giving into your every desire all the time.
Well,
but it's like right now, I'm not worried about how unlistenable this podcast is.
That phone just fall?
Yeah.
I just leave it. I mean, we could probably end it right here. Do you have anything else? Any burning desires that you want to talk about?
Not really. I think this has been a pretty good, lengthy episode.
This has been fun.
We'll have to call it like the non sequitur episode or something.
I hope that our eating noises weren't too bothersome.
I feel like eating noises can go either way for me.
Yeah, that's true. Because on the one hand, I could be listening and be like, oh man, I'm there. I'm eating with you guys. But on the other hand, I'll be like, man, would you guys shut up and stop chewing? Good times, though. Good times.
I think it's good that this has been about 3 hours or whatever. Because we have not done a podcast in a long time.
That's true. So, like, for those of you who've been asking, where's Campfire Chronicles? It's back, baby. Yeah, so closing thoughts? Closing thoughts? Anything you want to... Let me ask you this. As Andrew Lin, the individual. Because I know what I would say, but I don't know what you would say. Because if I were you, then you'd be me. And I'd use your body to get to the stop. If you could tell people one thing, just one thing, that would make the world a better place, what would it be?
Love people with the full extent of your heart. And take the love you feel for an individual and apply that to all aspects of your life and all levels of society.
Give me some practical meaning to that.
Okay.
So how would somebody, if you told somebody that, what are they supposed to do?
So, you meet someone for the first time. There's two ways it can go. One, you can be like, have these preconceptions about them, be all judgy, and don't, like, I do this all the time. Like, oh, this guy's a douchebag, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, let's preface everything we've said.
It's
if it sounds like we're judging people, no. We're talking about ourselves.
Yeah. So, like, you can go in with the mindset of, like, this person's, he doesn't go jive with me, blah, blah, blah. Or you can go in with the mindset, like, look, I'm not going to judge this guy. I'm just going to be myself. I'm going to let him be himself. I'm going to be cordial. Let's talk. Let's be human beings, one-on-one. Just, do that with every person you meet. Focus on the love you have for them. But don't just keep it at this individual level. Apply that feeling of love that you feel in these individual interactions to everything in life. Think really hard about your actions, your decisions, your role in society, and how you can bring this sort of like compassion and love and human connection on all levels of life and society, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Like, so are the things that you believe in how the world should be, do those make the world a better place where that sort of thing can happen? Or do they leave people behind, and are you judging people, you know?
Let me give you a perfect example. The other day, my mom and I and my grandma, all three of us, we were going to go to the library and vote early.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So my grandma's there early, and she's like, oh, the line's getting pretty long. You guys better come here. So my mom and I, we went. And we get there, and the line's really long. The line's not moving at all. And I'm like, oh, man, I instantly regret this. Mm-hmm. So I'm like, and my mom was like, oh, well, Grandma can take me home. You can just go. So I was like, okay, see you later. I instantly left, okay? Mm-hmm. That's not the important part of the story. The important part of the story is that my mom was there, still in the line, and somebody in line, the voting machine's broke. Somebody in line just started getting so angry. Mm-hmm. I was like, this is ridiculous. They had Bright House internet. Bright House is down everywhere. How can you be down? Blah, blah, blah.
Was that during the DDoS attack?
Oh, maybe it was that same day. I don't remember. But in any case, she's just getting so angry. She's like giving the voting guy a hard time. He's just a volunteer.
Yeah.
You know, he's just a volunteer. He signed with us to help. Okay? She's just making the world a crappy place. So let's break this down. I don't know who she's voting for. I don't care who she's voting for. She is making the world a demonstrably worse place with her behavior. Mm-hmm. So whatever she believes in doesn't matter. It's how she's putting the interaction she's putting out into the universe, not even into the universe. Let's not get esoteric.
Yeah.
The interaction she's putting out with other people is bringing everybody down.
Yeah.
So whatever you believe in, even if it's like you believe in something good, if your actions do not reflect what you believe, you're not helping anything.
And I would say vice versa. If your actions on an individual level are good, but logically the things you believe, and it's so easy to rationalize. Like, if logically what you believe does not lead to that sort of kind, good interaction on a whole, on a larger scale, think about your beliefs, you know?
Yeah.
Think about it, that's all.
Yeah.
It's very vague. Okay, what about you, though?
Oh, no, that's basically all I say. I was like, don't worry about what you're doing. Don't worry about what you're saying. Just worry about the look on the other person's face when you're interacting with them.
There's a great quote. It's like, people will not remember what you did or what you said. They'll remember how you made them feel. Forget who said that.
That's a great quote. Fantastic quote. That I could tell a story about that. But instead, we're going to end the episode. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for joining me. Let's toast our microphone.
Excuse me. Sorry. Thank you for watching this de-evolution of an episode.
How many hours has this been? Like, they said the pizza would take like at least 30 minutes, and I feel like it got here in 10 minutes. Anyways, thank you for watching.
Yes, thank you.
See you later.
Drop the mic.